All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to City Hall this evening for a City Council meeting. If you're here for that meeting, you're at the right place, and we're glad you're here. Before we get into the meeting, however, we do have 4 public hearings. These public hearings are an opportunity if you wish to be heard. You are able to be heard on these items. They're also accompanied by an actual agenda item as well. So if you'd prefer to speak on the actual agenda item when it gets to that item on the agenda, you're also welcome to do that. So with that, we will begin with the public hearings, beginning with public hearing number 1, public hearing on ordinance number 4499, an ordinance to amend ordinance 4400, the zoning ordinance of the city of Columbia, Tennessee, by rezoning tax map 100E, group F, parcels 25 through 25.03, located off of West 12th and Haley Streets from Neighborhood Character District to General Urban Character District. This is Ward 2. Anyone in the audience this evening wish to be heard on public hearing number 1? Seeing none. Any on council wish to be heard on public hearing number 1? Hearing none, entertain a motion to close public hearing number 1.
So move.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on that item? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye. Public hearing number 1 is closed. Next item 2, public hearing on ordinance number 4505, an ordinance to amend ordinance 4400, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Columbia, Tennessee, by rezoning tax map 100E, group G, parcel 29, located at 1209 Galloway Street, from Neighborhood Character District to General Urban Character District. This is Ward 2. Anyone in the audience this evening wish to be heard on public hearing number 2? Hearing none. Anyone on council wish to be heard on public hearing number 2? Seeing none, entertain a motion to close public hearing number 2.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye. Public hearing number 2 is closed. Next item 3. Public hearing on ordinance number 4506, an ordinance to amend ordinance 4400, the zoning ordinance of the city of Columbia, by rezoning tax map 99A, group G, parcel 32, located at 815 Woodside Street, from Neighborhood Character District to General Urban Character District. This is Ward 3. Anyone in the audience this evening wish to be heard on public hearing number 3? Seeing none, anyone on council wish to be heard on public hearing number 3? Hearing none, entertain a motion to close public hearing number 3. Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles. Vice Mayor McBroom. Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item is now closed. Final item, 4, public hearing on ordinance number 4507, an ordinance to amend ordinance 4400, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Columbia by rezoning tax map 75 parcel 11.17, located off Baker Road from planned unit development residential district to neighborhood large lot character district and rural character district. This is Ward 5. Anyone in the audience this evening wish to be heard on public hearing number 4? Seeing none, anyone on council wish to be heard on public hearing number 4? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to close.
Move for approval.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Green. Mr. Marshall. Mrs. Wiles. Vice Mayor McBroom. Mayor Mulder.
Aye. Public hearing number 4 is now closed. Now we'll transition into our regular meeting for May 9th, 2024, the City Council meeting for the City of Columbia. To all of our visitors in the room, we say welcome. We're glad you're here. I'm liking what I see out in the crowd tonight because I happen to know a lot of these faces and I know why they're here. And so it's a special night for us here at the City of Columbia for this meeting. I would also be remiss if I did not point out that the last 24 hours in the City of Columbia and Murray County has been a difficult time for our community. I think it is said often that in the worst of times, the best of humanity shines. And I think certainly we have seen that example time and time again over the last 24 hours of people reaching out literally from across the country wanting to know how they can help. I've had the opportunity to speak with a number of mayors from across Tennessee who have offered their assistance and manpower and support. The governor was in town today who came to see firsthand some of the damage and destruction and to have an opportunity to hear his support of the state resources that are being dedicated through TEMA and his office, and also to communicate with our federal legislative delegation as well. We've been real fortunate to have solid leadership on the ground locally with our first responders, the Columbia Fire and Rescue, Columbia Police Department, Public Works Department, who've also been working with the Murray County Emergency Management Office who have really just done a phenomenal job of making sure that every cooperation that needed to occur in order to have a strong response to this was in place, and it just made me particularly proud. We're all very sorry about the loss of life, the fatality that's a result from this storm. We know that there are also several others who are injured from the storm, and we also know that there were several structures, over 100 that were damaged, and about 40 of those which were totally destroyed, which means this storm will have a lasting impact on a number of people in our community for the days and months ahead. And when that occurs, when one of us is impacted, then we all are. And so I think I speak for all of us on City Council that there are a lot of thoughts and prayers that are being sent out, but also just grateful hearts for all the support that has been poured out over the last 24 hours. So with that, we will transition into the roll call. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman.
Here.
Mr. Green.
Here.
Ms. Hardison. Mr. Marshall.
Here.
Mrs. Wiles.
Here.
Vice Mayor McBroom.
Here.
Mayor Mulder.
Here. Thank you, Mr. Jablonski. Now we will have the invocation led by Mr. Deltrick McCullough of Macedonia Church of Christ. I'm pleased to see you this evening, Mr. McCullough. Come on forward, and we'll ask you to lead us in our invocation. As he's coming forward, I would ask for all of you who are able to please stand for the invocation, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance that will follow thereafter.
Let's bow. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and Father, we thank you for this gathering, a meeting. Father, we're asking that you will help decisions that are on the agenda. Father, we are grateful for our resources for this community. Father, everything that we discussed tonight and that is heard by those you have in place, we ask that you will help them to make the proper decisions. Father, we ask these favors and blessings. We ask them in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. You face the flag, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Reverend McCullough, for those words. Okay. Okay, we'll now move into the approval of agenda, which is section 4. You have your agenda in front of you this evening. I would make one note that section 5.5, the presentation regarding Dr. David Craig, we're going to have to punt that due to a scheduling issue this evening. And so that would be the only change to the agenda, I believe, is that we'll be striking presentation 5.5. So I'll make a motion to approve the agenda subject to that one amendment. Been properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Green.
Aye.
Mr. Marshall. Mrs. Wiles. Vice Mayor McBroom. Mayor Mulder.
Aye. The agenda is approved as amended. Next, section 5, presentations. We have a couple of presentations, and not that I have favorites, but if I did, 5.1 might be my favorite. Recognition of the Mayor's Youth Council. This is always my second favorite council meeting. My first favorite council meeting is when we swear in the Mayor's Youth Council, and then my second favorite is when we get to recognize them for their work that they've done. And this year's work was actually particularly exciting and admirable, and I can't wait for everybody to hear more about it, those who are here this evening, but also those who are watching on our live stream and who may watch in the days ahead. So we have many of our members who are here with the Mayor's Youth Council, and of course, you heard about who they were and where they were represented from in their schools when they got sworn in. But tonight you're going to hear about a project that they undertook, which was the first time that the Mayor's Youth Council has sort of taken that next step to sort of level up the Mayor's Youth Council. We've had some returning Mayor's Youth Council members. We had a brand new, I think our very first freshman youth council member we were also excited about. And to see the applicants that have come in from all over the county. We've had county schools represented, city schools represented, private schools represented, homeschool represented, and it's just really been unique to see the service that these young people have already committed themselves to make their community a better place. So before we do the official recognition with their plaque or their presentation, I'm going to call on Dr. Ryan Jackson, who's here this evening, who he and his team helped facilitate that leveling up that I'll talk about. So Dr. Jackson, if you'll make your way up to the podium and educate this council and this community on what the Mayor's Youth Council was up to.
I don't need a microphone.
I think that'll be fine.
Frank, can you hear me in the back? Good. My name is Dr. Ryan Jackson, and when the mayor and I got together in the fall and he explained the concept to me of the Mayor's Youth Council, I really got stuck on the word council. And knowing the mayor like I do, I knew it was going to be something cool, but I wanted to challenge council in such a way where we can empower young people to do something special. So I would really be remiss if I did not say thank you to Dan McEwen and the McEwen Group, to J.C. Bomar and her leadership with the Mayor's Youth Council, because we came up with a challenge for these students that would empower them in such a way to make direct impact in their community. And it started with this idea of environmental conservation. Then we went down a little deeper and got into the Duck River, water conservation. So the students were challenged to get into unique groups. They could not pick their team. They were placed into different groups, and they had to do two things essentially. One, as a team, they had to create policy as if they were part of Mayor Mulder's cabinet. They had to come up with policy to pitch to the mayor of how to get the community to buy in to water conservation. That was the first part of the challenge. The second part of the challenge, and these groups would meet monthly, and they've got so much going on in their life. So they really only got this time to meet for 1 hour a month to develop this policy initiative for the mayor. That was the first part of the challenge. The second part of the challenge is how do you take that policy and create a social media outreach campaign that could maximize the influence of this policy. And that's exactly what the students did. I mean, they truly stepped up to the plate, went above and beyond, created not only some very interesting policy ideas for the mayor to chew on, but then knocked it out of the park with their social media outreach videos. So I want to say thank you to the students that were involved. Absolutely amazing. When I saw your lifeguard ad at Muletown, it did not surprise me when I saw it, my friend, because the video they're about to see is absolutely amazing. Big shout out to all students that were involved. Incredible, Mayor, for what you're doing. I think what impressed me most, friends, I've been working now in Murray County for over 8 years. Most of that time has been in Mount Pleasant, Tennessee. So I just not had the purview like I have had over the last 5 months. This county as a whole, the students, the schools involved, not only blew me away, I would put us up next to anybody, any students, any schools in this state, nationwide. Murray County is where it's at, and flexed on them in this challenge, and I'm proud of you. Thank you. Good luck to you in everything you do going forward. Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to do this.
All right. Now we're going to play their videos.
Man, there's trash everywhere in this city. I'm so thirsty and I can't even buy a drink because they're just gonna give me a plastic water bottle. No need to fear, the Guardians of the Duck are here.
In the interest of protecting one of the most biodiverse rivers in North America and promoting a waste-free ecosystem, the Guardians of the Duck are working closely with the City of Columbia to make changes that combat pollution and increase the quality of life for citizens just like you. We will be promoting a shift for businesses on the town square to begin using either biodegradable or reusable cups, utensils, and straws for dining in and taking out. We also hope to start a charity fund designed to build refillable water stations on the square and surrounding areas so that all citizens can stay hydrated, and to promote the use of refillable water vessels. We, the Guardians of the Duck, want to see this river and the over 200 aquatic or endangered species that it protects thrive for generations to come, so that you and your children can play on its gorgeous banks, thrive from its resources, and enjoy the wonders that this incredible river has to offer.
Wow, that's so cool! I can't wait to see what the Guardians of the Duck are gonna do for our city!
We live in Colombia, so of course that means we have a growing population, which also means growing resource demands.
We live in Colombia. Of course we have one of the most biodiverse rivers in the United States, the Duck River, with over 650 aqueous species.
Hey, we might need some water conservation policies to protect our rivers from these water demands, since that's where we get it from.
We're from Colombia. Of course we have a few ideas on how to conserve our water and protect our rivers, like using water from rooftops, using recycled water from buildings, and water offsets.
We're from Colombia! Of course we want your support for our water conservation policies.
Hey there, have you heard of the water conservation competition that the Columbia Mayor's Youth Council is proposing?
It's called the C3, Columbia's Conservation Challenge.
Exactly. We're aiming to have each of our city's wards compete to save water, with council members heading up their own areas or the mayor appointing someone.
Here's the kicker. There's a monthly $100 discount for the top saver in each ward. It's pretty straightforward. Just go to the city hall, grab the necessary forms, and upload your data to the website leaderboard.
The leaderboard will help us view who saves the most water in each ward. We'll update it monthly to keep people engaged. There will also be a leaderboard for businesses who donate and help towards our water-saving efforts.
So what's your take on this idea?
Are you on board with us making Columbia greener? Let's work together to make a positive impact on our city's future.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's give those videos a round of applause. Part of the deal was that the winning video would be featured on McEwen Group, who helped sponsor this, their website, and then also the City of Columbia social media channels and platforms. And I'm just going to go ahead and make the mayoral executive decision that all three of those videos will be shared. And so congratulations again to all of you. Okay, now I would just like to ask if the City Council would join me in the well with and all the Mayor's Youth Council. If you'll come up, I know we have several that couldn't be here tonight for various reasons, the storm related and otherwise. But if you all meet us up to the well, we'd like to recognize you. and I did not see that JC was in the audience. So JC, we're going to have you come on up. I know you don't work anymore. JC, as many of you know, no longer works at the City of Columbia. She's now in the private sector, and it was very amicable. We're glad that she is thriving, although we really hate to have lost her. But she was really the one that helped keep this Mayor's Youth Council going. I mean, we started it 3 years ago, and we didn't know what we were doing, and it's now grown into something that you now saw this evening that resulted in some projects that were very pertinent projects, pertinent issues of the day today in the city of Columbia, Murray County. And I couldn't be more proud of this group, and JC really gets the credit for the successes that it's seen, in addition to your own successes and the credit that you get. So instead of going through all these, I thought what we would do is just let y'all go through real quick. I'll start with you, freshmen. Not that we're picking on the freshmen here, but I'm very excited that we did have a freshman this year. Say your name and your school and your grade. And if you're a senior and you want to share what you're doing after you graduate, let us know that too. Audrey?
I'm Audrey. I'm in 9th grade and I go to Columbia Central.
My name is Owen Robert Hollis. I'm in the 12th grade and I go to Columbia Central High School. You'll catch me taking my talents to the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, Big Orange.
I'm Pat Duval. I'm a senior at Columbia Central High School, and I'm going up for Purdue, where I'll major in genetics and music. Hi, my name is I'm a senior at school at University of Alabama this fall.
I'm Zion. I'm traveling across the world.
Well, you can see it's real easy to be proud of this group, and just excited for the future, and excited, more importantly, for what you're going to be able to give back. And you know, I grew up here, graduated Central High School, and came back home. A number of us did, some of us did not. And I always try to tell people that I want Columbia to be a place that either you're going to want to come back to, like I did, or if you don't come back to it, that Columbia will be a place that you always be proud of. And so I know that this council is working to make you proud of your community, but tonight y'all made us proud for your good work. So Audrey, I'm going to give you these. If you can handle passing those out and delegate that as you wish. To the seniors, we have a special little token of appreciation as you leave. If you'll see one of the black boxes on your right, you can take one of those if you're a senior. And if they're extra and you're not a senior, then, you know, I don't know, JC, take that too if you want. But with that said, we'll take a group picture, and then y'all be free to go out and have your Thursday night back. Okay?
You want me to go ahead and pass these?
You can just wait till the end. We good? Fill in here.
I started to say she's going to say script.
All right, let's give him another round of applause. Congratulations, guys. Council, why don't you have this stay down here? Thank y'all so much. Randy, stay down here. We'll just do it. All right, we're going to go a little bit out of order, if you don't mind, since we're already all down here. We have two other presentations on the agenda. By the way, this is the point in time. If you'd like to leave, we will not hold it against you, so feel free. Thank you again for being here, and to the parents and families, thank you for sharing your students with us. Thank you so much. We'll now go into one of our two next presentations, National Public Works Week. So Jeff Dwyer and the Public Works team, I see some others who are here. Y'all come on up. We'd like to make a brief presentation. It looks like Dwyer is holding something
going on.
important here. We can't wait to see it. Part of the National Public Works Week. Very good, very good. Well, we'll frame it another time. But let me read this proclamation, if you don't mind, to the Public Works team here. Public Works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Columbia, Tennessee. These infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of Public Works professionals at all levels who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation system, storm drainage, fleet maintenance, sanitation, and facilities essential for our citizens, including scraping the streets when the snow is on them. It is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Columbia to gain knowledge of and maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their communities. This year, 2024, marks the 64th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now, therefore, I, Chaz Mulder, Mayor of the City of Columbia, and all of the City Council of Columbia, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim the week of May 19 through 25 as National Public Works Week in Columbia, Tennessee, and encourage all citizens to join in on this. Jeff, Public Works team, thank you so much. Do we have is there a spokesman of the group, or I think if so, I know it's a microphone right here. All right, let's do it. Well, let's join on in here.
Donna. Thank you. Y'all were there the other day. Get out there fast enough to say thank you. The truck was gone.
Public Works is one of those departments where everybody always has a thank you to tell them because they're always conducting certain tasks. We have one more proclamation and recognition for National Police Week. I know we have quite a few from Columbia Police Department who are here, but just ask y'all to all please come forward if you're willing and able. Some that I guess get a pass if they don't want to, but you're welcome if you will.
I haven't voted yet, so we can get it.
Well, that's true.
You're right.
Yes, I voted. That was good. Sorry. One more time.
All right. Well, another very important recognition for another very important department within the city of Columbia, National Police Week, and I'd like to read this proclamation. There are more than 900,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Columbia Police Department. Since the first recorded death in 1786, more than 26,250 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty, including one member of the Columbia Police Department on April 5th, 1981, and 136 officers in 2023. It is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that our Columbia police officers recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, by protecting the innocent against deception, and the weak against oppression. Now, therefore, I, Chaz Mulder, Mayor of the City of Columbia, and all the City Council of Columbia, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim the week of May 12th through 18th, 2024, as National Police Week in Columbia, Tennessee, and that Monday, May 13th, be recognized as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of law enforcement officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community. Chief. Thank you. All right. Do you have some remarks?
With that, everybody is invited next Tuesday night on the 14th, 7 p.m., Pleasant Heights Baptist. If you've never been to Police Memorial Service or if you've been to every one of them, you're welcome to come. It's something to see if you've never seen it, but we'll leave from there and then go to Woodland Park, past the site of Officer Whitwell, where he was shot and killed in 81, and we'll finish up with a short ceremony in the park. But Please, if you got the time, you might want to.
I think it's right, Chief. If you've never been to one, or if you've been to every one, you walk out there from that night feeling as inspired and just for what we have here in the community with our law enforcement community. So I would encourage everyone to come if you're able on Tuesday night at Pleasant Heights
at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Okay. All right, Chief. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you.
All right, we'll now go up to item 5.2. Mr. Evans, come on up. Sorry for that. Thank you for allowing us to take you slightly out of order, but you have the floor. Welcome.
Sure. Absolutely fine. Those are some good reasons to move me around. I'm totally fine with. Thank you all for having me this evening. Before I get started, I do want to just kind of echo what you were saying, Mayor Mulder. I think the last 24 hours, I do want to thank the city for the partnership and what you guys have been doing alongside the county and all the first responders. I know it's taken a lot of people away from their families, but you guys have been doing great work. So we're blessed to live in a beautiful community where people know how to come together to do, when needed, to do what's needed. So, and I can assure you that our membership, we have had a tremendous outreach from them, from the community, and trying to find ways to help. We've been trying to connect as much as possible. I know information is forthcoming on volunteer opportunities, so we're going to get that out as well. And then our organization, of course, is ready to help how and when we can. So please just let us know. All right. You guys do have, I believe, a handout of our presentation this evening. So the first thing I will hit is just our economic development dashboard. Really not much to go over, just that things remain healthy. We've got some more data we'll talk about following this within our pipeline. I will point out one typo just in case you decide to do the math on it. If you look over at the sector breakdown on the top right, there is an item missing. Plastics should be listed on there as well, with 2 of the projects of those 20 equaling plastics. So that has been caught and updated to our digital versions. Unemployment stays kind of in that 2%. Cost of living numbers should be the same from last time. New numbers will be coming out within the next month as we just completed that. And then nothing major to note below that. I did want to highlight that we have welcomed a new employee effective April 11th. Elizabeth McLean has joined our team as our marketing and communications director. She joins us from the county Parks and Rec department, so we're very pleased to have her on board. And she has hit the ground running over the last few weeks here. And then I wanted to spend the bulk of my presentation talking about the following. I believe it's 4 pages there, our annual KPI report. I believe Travis Groth may have presented this to you all about this time last year. We would think of economic development, the first thing that comes to mind is the announcements and the jobs created and the kind of that immediate impact, that excitement. But we've last year strategically wanted to take a step back and look at the long-term impact that what we're doing and what a growing economy is experiencing. So we started with releasing the county level KPI last year. We have expanded that, which we'll talk about here in a moment, benchmarking ourselves against other communities across the state and other communities across the United States. So I'll talk just a little bit about the county level. All data here is 2022 information. All that information typically lags unless it's otherwise noted. And throughout all of these versions, we're really designed these to ask 3 questions. Is the community growing? Is the community growing wealthier? And is the community providing the talent that's necessary to be successful in economic development? So these various what you see here are these data points that we measure year-over-year change, 5-year change, and 10-year change. I'm not going to go through these specific data, more just talk about what you have here so you can digest that at a later date. And I'm happy to let you talk to the right people in our office to get in the weeds of the data if you'd like. That's not me. Moving to the next 2 pages, you'll see at the top it's labeled Tennessee Benchmarking. That is a 2-page document just because of the data points. So what we have done here is we've identified 3 counties outside of the Nashville MSA that we oftentimes find ourselves competing with for projects across the state. And then we also included Madison County, additionally because we do compete with them, and just with Jackson, Tennessee, being one of the major cities closest to the recent Blue Oval announcement, and that similarity to Spring Hill and having General Motors present. We've included the Nashville MSA, which of course Murray County is part of, and then state benchmarking. We have all the same data points there, with the exception of the county has our total assessed value. It was not as easy to obtain that data for other counties across the state as it was here, where we have a strong relationship with the county assessor and could get that. So we replaced that with the let's see, where is it? The average annual home value, as opposed to the assessed value, just kind of a similar point there. So the only thing I'll note here is, with the exception of Madison County, the other counties listed here are larger than Murray County. But if you start looking at the data, specifically kind of the 5 and 10 year trend rate percentages across the board, we are outperforming many of them, are kind of what we consider punching above our weight with other communities that are out there across the state. And then finally, the last page there, you have our national benchmarking KPI. And again, the state and national are new this year. We selected these counties here from other states based on their geographic location, similar geographic location to large MSAs, based on similar demographic makeups, and then also based on industrial makeup or job makeups there. That was from a target market study we did several years ago. And again, you'll see there those communities are with the exception of one, larger than ours, and we continue to punch above our weight looking at those long-term trends. The only data that is not represented here is the education data, and that is just simply because when you start looking at other states and how states are reporting education data, it's just different, and it was not an apples-to-apples comparison, so we just pulled that out of the national comparison. And then one small typo to note, and again, that has been corrected as of our board meeting this morning. If you look at the United States under population, those percentages are actually what Murray County's percentages are. They just weren't. It's the year-over-year trend is 0.4% on the U.S., 2.5% for the 5-year, and 6.2% for the 10-year. So outperforming the national average there. So with that, I will stop and ask any questions you all may have. This updated version is available on our website as well if you guys would like to share this. And we released it in our newsletter and I believe via social media this week.
Any questions for Mr. Evans? Will, thank you for this. I think these KPIs are really interesting and illustrative, and allows us to sort of see where we are and maybe where we'd like to go.
Sure.
So thanks for setting that out. I may have some questions on that later, but
call Rupa, please.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Just a quick question. Remind me, how did you self-select the cities and the states, the other cities with the United States? Did you self-select?
Yeah. So again, but we were scientific in why we selected those where we find ourselves competing against or are similar in proximity, geographical and demographic makeup.
Any other questions for Mr. Evans? Hearing none. Thank you, Will, and thank you for your comments at the top. We appreciate it. I know that y'all have had a lot of the businesses will reach out to your office first to figure out how to help, and so it's good to hear that those calls have been coming in, and hopefully we can continue to communicate outward the opportunities.
Absolutely, and thank you all for your support.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move now to Section 6, Organizational Business. Item 6.1, approve the minutes of the April 11, 2024 regular City Council meeting.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom? Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 6.2, approve the retirement benefits for Jeff Duncan, Police Lieutenant, and presentation of gift check and retirement plaque by Mayor Mulder.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on item 6.2? I'll save my comments and roasting for when we meet them in the well. Anybody want to speak now? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
I know.
Aye.
Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom. Mayor Mulder.
Aye. Item 6.2 is approved. Let the record reflect reluctantly approved. I would like to ask for Lieutenant Duncan and his family who are here to join me and all of City Council in the well, please. How are you?
Doing great.
Y'all come on up. How are you?
I want to
Mayor, good to see you. All right, well, y'all come on and gather around. We're all one big family here. We'll get a photo at the end. But let me just say to Lieutenant Duncan, you know, there's one silver lining with his retirement, and that is this. I have to tell you, I like to, on Mule Day, at least think that I'm one of the first ones in Columbia that are up on Mule Day. I'm just so excited about the day. And I always like to put that first post on Facebook, photo of the streets in the early morning hours before they're busy with people and other things. But Jeff Duncan always beat me to it. And it used to sort of make me mad, but then it transitioned from making me mad to where I would just steal his photo and post it myself as though it was my own. And so now I guess that means I'm going to have to get back into the business of getting up early and going to take my own photo to post for Mule Day. But Jeff, you're someone that everywhere you go in the community, everybody knows you and everybody associates you with the City of Columbia and its police department. And, you know, it's been said that a good reputation follows you everywhere you go, and a bad reputation shows up before you get there. And Jeff Duncan has a good reputation no matter where he goes. And because of that, we're going to hate to lose him. But we also know that he has earned this opportunity to retire. And golly, I can't imagine anybody that is leaving in as good graces and with the love and respect that Jeff Duncan leads with. So I have this recognition here presented to Jeff Duncan. That's dated effective May 23rd, 2024. So I'm sure there's a meaning to that date that you probably know. That this award is presented in appreciation for 28 years of dedicated public service. Your loyalty, friendship, and professionalism will long be remembered. City of Columbia, Mayor, and City Council. Jeff Duncan, congratulations. Before we give Lieutenant Duncan the podium, does anyone on council want to say anything? And if not, then Chief, would there be anything you'd like to share?
We're going to have his retirement ceremony at the Police Department Training Room, 11 o'clock tomorrow. I'll be very brief tonight. Let's do this. He's the best.
All right. Well, Lieutenant, you get to say a couple words. I know you do have a reception tomorrow, so don't steal your own thunder, but we would like you to say something.
No, just thank you for this, and it's been an honor. And like you said, the place I'm proud to be. Yes, I've been here for 28 and a half years. I just turned 50 in November, and all but 2 years of my life, I've either been a son of a Columbia police officer or a police officer myself. So it's hard walking away from these guys, but I know they'll do good without me. And love Columbia. Thank y'all, council, and everybody else for what y'all have done and continue to do for the employees. And I'm proud to say that I'm an employee and a retired employee now. But it's meant a lot. Thank you.
That is why we love you. Jeff, if you don't mind, we're going to take a photo here.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's it.
All right, we will move on now to section 7 of which is the consent agenda. These are items that are deemed non-controversial, requiring no additional debate or discussion unless it's requested that an item be removed. We'll begin with 7.1, approve disbursements for the month of March 2024 in the amount of $5,959,151.51. 7.2, approve and authorize the disposal of surplus equipment. 7.3, approve payment to Murray County to provide funding for the Murray County City of Columbia Animal Services Facility for the third quarter of 2024 in the amount of $50,000. Item 7.4, approve the yearly purchases of trash and recycle carts from Toter LLC utilizing Sourcewell contract. 7.5, approve the mayor to sign the hold harmless agreement between the City of Columbia and Birchall Properties at 100 West 5th Street, Ward 3. 7.6, approve and authorize the mayor to sign a contract between the City of Columbia and Water Management Services for engineering services for the Royal Oaks Sewer Basin Improvement Project, not to exceed the amount of $74,000. Item 7.7, approve recording of engineers of record for professional engineering services for the wastewater department. Engineers of record include J.R. Wofford and Company, Consulting Engineers, Inc., Water Management Services, LLC, CSL Services, Inc., and CTI Engineers, Inc. 7.8, approve and authorize the mayor to sign a contract between the City of Columbia and Water Management Services for engineering services for the Bear Creek Pike Sewer Relocation Project, not to exceed the amount of $100,000. Item 7.9, approve and authorize the mayor to sign the industrial waste and disposal services agreement between the City of Columbia and Waste Management. Item 7.10, approve and authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with Kimberly Horn and Associates for an existing condition review and report of the aquatics facilities at the Muletown Recreation Center in the amount of $15,000. Item 7.11, approve and authorize the mayor to sign a work order between the City of Columbia and Crowd Riff in the amount of $5,500 for add-on module Crowd Riff's studio to assist with editing and creating video content. Item 7.12, approve and authorize the mayor to sign a lease and service agreement between the City of Columbia and Safe Haven Baby Boxes, Inc. for the purchase, installation, and service of a baby box to be installed at Fire Station 1 located at 1000 South Garden Street. Item 7.13, approve the purchase of a 2024 KME K180 rescue pumper from Safe Industries in the amount of $750,000 utilizing Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative Purchasing Program. And item 7.14, approve change order number 3 with Brindley Construction LLC in the amount of $84,000 for the Columbia Fire Station 1 renovations. That is your consent agenda, items 7.1 through 7.14. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom? Aye. Mayor Mulder?
Aye, the consent agenda is approved. Next item, resolutions. 9.1, Resolution 2429, tax corrections.
Move to approve.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Aye. Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles? Aye. Vice Mayor McBroom? Aye. Mayor Mulder?
That item is approved. Next item, 9.2, Resolution 2430, tax assessment corrections. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Aye. Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles? Aye. Vice Mayor McBroom? Aye. Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 9.3, Resolution number 2431, a resolution accepting a donation of 14 planters from Columbia Main Street for historic downtown Columbia.
Move to approve.
It's been moved. It's been properly seconded. Any discussion on that item? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Aye. Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mrs. Wiles? Aye. Vice Mayor McBroom? Aye. Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 9.4, Resolution 2433, a resolution to accept a donation of a Bunn low-profile pour-over coffee brewer with 3 warmers and 4 bags of coffee beans with an approximate value of $500 from Muletown Bearded Axe to be used by the Columbia Police Department. And let me just say on this, this is a prime example of what we've really been experiencing the last 24 hours is that just our local businesses who are doing business in this community that are constantly wanting to reach out to help our first responders and other areas in need. And Mealtown Bearded Axe in particular, and Vice Mayor, you pointed this out last week. I mean, ever since the business opened its doors and we were at the ribbon cutting, hopefully the video evidence that evidences our axe throwing is no longer around. But from that moment when we first went to that new business in town, there was an offer to help. What can we do to help and give back? And so Mealtown Bearded Axe, this is not the first time that they've been on an agenda of ours for a donation of something to our city in some way. And so I'm just very grateful for that. I believe that we have a representative here tonight, and Josh is here, and the Vice Mayor invited Josh to be here. And Josh, if you don't mind, after we pass this resolution, we'd like to meet you in the well for a quick photo and just an appreciation from us for your continued support of the City of Columbia. So I've read 9.4. I'll make a motion to approve 9.4.
Second.
It's been properly seconded by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion on 9.4? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Green.
Aye.
Mr. Marshall.
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom.
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye. Item 9.4 is approved. If council will please meet me in the well. Josh. I was going to put him on the spot to ask him who the better axe thrower was, the mayor or the vice mayor, but maybe I'll know that it's probably this guy. So, see, there you go. I'm willing to admit, Chief.
Real quickly, Josh is a huge supporter of first responders, we've mentioned. And I can assure you, over the past 24 hours, that coffee, it's been the fuel that runs us, and it has not stopped. And when it says 3 burners, it means it. It's very nice, very much appreciated. We definitely enjoyed it the last few days.
Sure, we'd love for it.
I donated the coffee maker and coffee for the ones that would love to have all you guys shovels, knives, all kinds of toys. Or just like throw axes, children, spouses, mother-in-law, political figures, whoever you want to throw them at. As long as it's in good fun, you're more than welcome to do it. We'd love to have you. Glad that we chose Columbia. Watching throughout our kids, I'm out on outreach. Wanted to help.
People have seen my face off.
Donates.
No.
None. Surprisingly, none.
Yeah.
None. I encourage people to put some of our local political figures. We haven't had none yet. But,
Well, we'll try to keep it that
as soon as
way.
it happens, we'll be sure to tag them in it. And, as long as it's in good fun, we're all for it. If it's not in good fun, we're not going to have it. But also a huge shout out to the department. They were and helped that part of Rivers. That couldn't have done it without them. Lastly, we donate some of our proceeds to charities, city, local business, that we're struggling. If you know someone that needs help, has money, wait until the net, whatever comes in, I'm donating. So if you have an idea or something, please let me know.
Josh, let's give him a round of applause. Josh. Thanks, bro. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that takes us now to section 10, ordinances. Item 10.1, second consideration, ordinance 4499, an ordinance to amend ordinance 4400, the zoning ordinance of the city of Columbia by rezoning tax map 100E, group F, parcels 25 through 2503, located off West 12th and Haley Streets from neighborhood character to general urban character district. This is Ward 2, 10.1.
Move for approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on item 10.1? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye. Item 10.1 is approved. Next item, 10.2, second consideration, ordinance 4500, an ordinance for the abandonment of city property being a .036 acre lot located on North Hardin Drive and authorizing the mayor to execute the plat and quitclaim deed. 10.2.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on that item? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye. Item 10.2 is approved. Next item, 10.3, first consideration of ordinance 4501, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 23-24 budget ordinance 4464, providing for revisions to the general fund and establish June 13th, 2024 as the date of public hearing.
Move for approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on item 10.3? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye. Item 10.3 is approved. Next item, 10.4, first consideration of ordinance 4502, an ordinance fixing the tax rate for the city of Columbia for the year 2024 on all taxable property at the rate of .8251 per 100 and establish the date of June 13th, 2024 as the date of public hearing. It's been moved and properly seconded, that item. Any discussion on item 10.4 of fixing the tax rate for the upcoming year, which remains unchanged from the prior year? Correct, Mr. Jablonski?
That's correct.
All right. Hearing none, we'll take the vote.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item is 10.5, first consideration of ordinance 4503, the appropriation ordinance for fiscal year July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025, and establish the date June 13, 2024 as the date of public hearing. This, of course, is the first of two readings, so I won't steal all the thunder on this first consideration other than to say I do think that all members of council have been briefed on the appropriation ordinance. I'll speak for myself when I say that, once again, it was a very robust and very exciting budget to see all the things that will stem from this, really from all the departments that are going to have an opportunity to really sort of upgrade and enhance services that are already being provided. And so I just once again say thanks to the city manager and to Mr. Jablonski for their good work, and then all of the department heads who I know put in a lot of work for their own department to make sure that they're helping be a part of what is a very responsible budget for the upcoming fiscal year. With that, we will entertain a motion, but I think this is an opportunity for me to make a motion subject to one amendment to the appropriation ordinance, which would include a $20,000 increase to the Murray County Senior Citizens Center, which would be in addition to what we already provide the Murray County Senior Citizen Center on an annual basis in the amount of $17,000. So this would take the annual appropriation for the senior center to a total of $37,000.
No, sir. I'm sorry. It's currently at 38,000.
38,000.
So this would take it to 58,000.
To 58,000. That was my fault. It would take the senior citizen appropriation from the city of Columbia to a total of 58,000. We've had an opportunity to speak with the Senior Citizen Center. Mr. Massey and I did. We've had other conversations. I know that all members of council have been briefed on that and the important work that center does. I think this is an opportunity for Columbia to recognize the importance that the Senior Citizen Center has in Columbia and Murray County. Hopefully, this additional funding will allow for additional opportunities for more members of our community to be served. What we have provided to the Senior Citizen Center has remained unchanged for a number of years. And so this is an opportunity to enhance that for them. So I would make a motion on this item 10.5 as amended to include an additional $20,000 allocation to the senior center.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Item 10.5, any discussion on that motion as amended? All right, hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved on first consideration. And Mr. City Attorney, next month on second consideration, that will be a clean motion to approve instead of an amendment. Is that correct? Because now
already be amended.
now it's been amended. So that'll be just a clean motion to approve for second consideration at the next meeting. Item 10.6, first consideration of ordinance number 4504, an ordinance to approve the classification and compensation plan for the City of Columbia city employees for the 24-25 fiscal year. And again, I know this will require a second consideration, but Mr. Massey, do you mind just giving a brief overview for purposes of the record and for those who may not be aware of what we're doing on this?
Yes, sir, Mayor. This ordinance actually accomplishes two things. First of all, we are recommending a 5% across-the-board raise for all city employees and adjusting the pay ranges to reflect that. Also, there are several positions in this ordinance which we are upgrading at the request of department heads. These positions were considered last year, but since we had the overall pay plan compensation to be implemented, we defer that to this year. So there's not any new positions in these others. They're existing positions that department heads have requested an upgrade to.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Massey. And again, I'm just going to say I appreciate your attention and all the department heads' attention to this. This is always the first question I have when we have the budget presentation is, what does the compensation plan look like, and are we increasing from the prior year in a way that's consistent with what we know the cost of living adjustments should be. This actually is slightly above that. And so I'm really proud to be able to tell our city employees that this increase is coming. Of course, it's never enough. We always want to do more, but I think this is a responsible approach based upon the budget numbers. And certainly we want to continue to look at ways to enhance and retain and recruit the best in the business, because we feel like we have that now and we want to continue that. So that is item 10.6. You've heard the explanation from the city manager. Is there a motion to approve item 10.6? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any further discussion on item 10.6? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye. Item 10.6 is approved. Next item, 10.7, first consideration on ordinance 4505, an ordinance to amend ordinance 4400, the zoning ordinance of the City of Columbia by rezoning tax map 100E, Group G, Parcel 29, located at 1209 Galloway Street from Neighborhood Character District to General Urban Character District. This is Ward 2. I know the Vice Mayor had a question on that. Vice Mayor?
I'd like to apologize to council. First of all, I did not bring up the questions during our study session. Unfortunately, I'm doing it now. I've had a lot more time to study it. And I would, City Manager, if we can get Mr. Keltner to come up and kind of tell us what CD3 is and what can actually be put in CD4.
I'll be happy to, Vice Mayor. Paul, if you could come forward, please.
Good evening, mayors and council members. So the question is what's the CD3, what's CD4, and a little general explanation of the two character districts there. CD3 is your neighborhood district. It's primarily the housing building type within that district. So as the name implies, you mostly see single family homes within it. The CD4 is where you start to see the mixture of uses and mixture of product types that your urban character district. It's placed within the city center urban village. This particular piece of property here is also within the activate zone of your Connect Columbia vision plan for that. The applicant here has demonstrated he could comply with the standards for the CD4. This property has been vacant for a little over 10 years or so within this area here, and he's looking to put some structures on there. And his uses for the structure in the CD4 are fairly wide ranging. So you can do single family, you can do some attached housing, you can also do certain commercial districts within there as well. The CD4 does mimic, those uses do mimic a lot with your previous ordinance, 3638. Neighborhood commercial is something that you see in urban districts, and that was allowed for over 10 years or so now under 3638 as well. So a lot of these uses are actually carrying over from 3638 into the CD4 within the same area. And this area is a prime example of that because you do have industrial area, you have CD4 areas, you also have lots in here that are over 100 foot wide, as small as 40, and some don't even have road frontage at all as being landlocked and only accessed by easements. You also have, this is a prime example of commercial mixed uses type area as well, as you do have Johnny's Market, which is on the same block. That's the type of commercial that you would typically see within a CD4. Does that answer your question, Vice Mayor?
Yeah, you did a good job on it. Now, we'll get down to a little bit of the nuts and bolts, I guess. After looking at this, and this lot is in the middle of the subdivision and in the middle of a street almost. And what I'm afraid of is, because right now we are working on the CD4. We had a lot of discussion on it last Wednesday. And some of the feeling is that the CD4 on what this guy wants to do on the lot should not be in CD4. So what could happen in here, I just want council to know, I feel like this is just a little more in my wheelhouse. In this CD4, he could build 2 houses. But in 5 years from now, one of these houses could be converted into a garage. Right, Paul? It could be converted into a garage where you can do maintenance on cars.
Yes, there are a multitude of commercial uses.
Or it could be turned into a beauty salon. There are things that could be, this thing could be converted into 5, 10 years down the road that we did not realize. The whole area is CD3. And I feel like till we can figure out, and me and Paul have had this conversation and we're having a good time on it, is it, because I'm dumping a lot on him and he's trying to figure it out. On some of these lots where they wanting to put houses in, but can we sit here and put the house in, and a shrewd businessman, well, I'm gonna put a garage there, and it's right in the middle of the subdivision, not on a corner or a whole block. It's right between some houses, and we couldn't stop them. So until we can figure out, and I think Paul knows what we're trying to do, he's just got to figure out how to do it. How we can figure out, I don't know how, right in the middle of a subdivision, one lot, make it CD4. There's too much wide range in there right now. That's my opinion. I just want to let everybody know it.
Mr. Did you have something?
Sorry,
Are you're Mr. Marshall?
So I've driven several times. I drive through there quite often, and looked at this lot here, and then I've looked at on one of the exhibits. It showed there was a house trailer put in, and it looks like the front of the house trailer is not sitting toward the road. Can they do the same thing to this lot?
No, sir. So they could do a manufactured home there today under the current CD3. There's less standards in the CD3 than the CD4. So if there is a positive to the CD4 does have a much higher facade standard and orientation standard than the CD3. So to answer your question, is CD4, no, they could not do that. In the CD3, there are potentials where, yes, they could modify the end of a manufactured home to meet a lower standard of CD3.
It just doesn't seem quite right. I've looked at this manufactured home, and you can definitely tell the front is not facing the road. It looks like a back door almost.
Yes, sir. So there again, the CD3, you would pretty much be able to do that. The CD4 would be more restrictive and would not allow that.
But if they manufactured a home where it was let's see, it would have to be 50 foot, 38 feet wide, and had a door on the front, then they could slide that manufactured home in there, couldn't they?
Well, it's a little bit more than that. So there is a frontage build out. So unless they were going there and, well, they can't because the lot's 50 foot wide. I mean, I'm sorry, the smallest they can get is 65. This one's at 100. So the structure itself would have to be at least 40 foot wide on that end. So then that's a pretty wide home just on the end in order to make that work there. There are some trade-offs. So I understand the unknown can cause pause and concern in your review, but do keep in mind that the difference between CD3 and CD4 is your standards automatically jump up because you're already going into a CD4 in a more dense, more mixed type environment versus the CD3 that's pretty much just the housing type as described earlier.
The standards are great. You have to put in hardy board. You have to upgrade everything. The problem I'm having is somebody can get it zoned CD4 and sell the property, and all of a sudden you've got a beauty shop right there, or it's not what they said it was going to be. Now, till we can figure out how we if you're going to do a CD3, and we've talked about it, zone it to what it's going to have to be 2 houses. Till we can figure that out, I'm not good on a CD4 in the middle of a subdivision.
Mr. Keltner, 2 things. One, the map that shows the surrounding CD3, would some of these that are in the CD3 map be non-conforming CD3? Or because it seems like some of these, like the business on the corner, is that a CD3 zone?
Well, there again, yes, sir. So in 3638, and you probably, I mean, I think Johnny's Market was done back in the 40s, I believe. So way back. But even if, say, prior to your conversion to Ordinance 4400 that you're currently under, neighborhood commercial was allowed in the R6s and the R10 type zones, which is what this was a direct conversion to. So that's just a carryover from previous ordinances. Okay. Neighborhood commercial.
And the vice mayor's concerns about what the potential uses can be down the road. And I remember we had this conversation during one of the rezones relative to what was going to be a law office on Athenaeum Street.
Yes.
And so I understand that, but from a city planning perspective, I mean, am I right that kind of diversification is sort of what you believe from a planning perspective makes a lot of sense and that you're trying to promote and encourage?
That it's a direct relation to your Connect Columbia plan. So that the vision of the core area being an urban type context, and also putting this under an activate zone where we're trying to encourage the mixture of type uses, is this would fit that. So they could go commercial. The standards for commercial there again are higher, just as we do for the houses. Parking in the rear, be able to access that, stormwater, tree preservation, things of nature, all kick into that site plan design. So could it go to commercial or some sort of low impact commercial? Absolutely, if they can fit it on the property.
And from your perspective, there are sufficient guardrails in place that if that is what they're going to do, then you would be content with that because you know the guardrails that are there, including the parking in the rear and maintaining that integrity that CD4 would offer. Is that right?
Yes, it would have a shop front look to it if it was commercial, so it would look very similar to what you see on some of your downtown buildings in that neighborhood.
And do you recall the Planning Commission conversation on this, Paul, or how this fell with the Planning Commission?
There was not a lot of conversation on this one other than just looking at the potential concept of what the applicant was presenting that he was requesting to do. But to the Vice Mayor's point, he would be allowed to do anything within the use table.
All right, well, wait a minute. This is a good discussion. I'm sorry we didn't have it the other night. So if they built a house there 5 years later, they could not come back and change that to operate a shop out of their house.
Not without converting it.
Converting
a change of use. A change of use. Mm-hmm.
Change of use. So the only thing we have to worry about now is if they go in there and build a commercial right now. So they've already got the house built. They can't change it to a beauty shop. They could not change it to a garage.
No, sir. It would take a change of use. So say you did have a residential structure, just as you mentioned earlier, the Athenaeum was a prime example of that. It's a residential structure. Residential structures are fairly difficult to convert to commercial, but it is possible. As long as they've left themselves enough room, which is the key thing here. If they build 2 houses on this, they've not really left themselves enough room for a 24-foot wide driveway to go around the side to put the parking and any other storage that they may need just on that part alone. So then you also have any landscaping requirements, things of that nature kind of kick in. So it's not just an automatic, I'm zoned for it, I can do it. You still have to go through building codes, fire codes, and zoning and engineering to look to see it. Now it's a commercial business. Now it has to meet commercial standards.
So if he goes to 24, if he goes to 50-foot wide, he'd have to have a 24, explain that 24 driveway again.
Your parking's in the rear, right? So you end up having to have at least a 24-foot wide driveway to go around to the parking, a two-way traffic type driveway.
So there's no way they could put a commercial on here then, is there?
He would have to really plan for it in order for that to happen. But you couldn't, if you put 2 houses there. 24,
it's 26. Do you have a 20-foot wide building?
That's what I'm getting at. And so that if he divides it into 2 50-foot wide lots and put 2 homes on it, then at that point, you just pretty much said, no, we're not going to do commercial there without removing one of the homes.
What was that? So moving a home, you had me going right there to that last second.
Yeah, if they removed one, if somebody bought both homes, removed one of the homes, then yes, then they would have enough room to go around the side. They'd have to change
the property line, right?
Yes, sir. They would have to dissolve one of the property lines, which is all just administrative, and then they can convert it.
Could y'all stop that?
No, sir. No, it would be within their right to do.
So I'm hearing sufficient guardrails, at least from your perspective, in place. So we're on 10.7. Any other questions, Mr. Keltner, on item 10.7?
Oh, yes.
Ms. Wild?
Yeah, Johnny Market is on the other corner.
Yes,
what's your comparison you're making? Why did you draw in Johnny's Market as an example or whatever?
As a neighborhood commercial. So it's been there
commercial.
for many generations. Okay. That's typically what you want to see is start to see that mixture in that. We have other areas of the town that are just like that. But just pointing out that this is not new to the area, commercial, as well as there is industrial just to the north of this. So there's a very wide mix of different things going on in this general area, which is what you typically see in urban environments. So.
But to Vice Mayor McBroom's, the 24 and the 2 lots, you would have to most likely secure both lots or take one house down and reconfigure it back to a 100-foot lot. Is that what I understood? You just said?
Correct. To take residential to commercial, you still have all these standards you have to meet. So even if you have an existing structure there, you're changing the use and you still have to show how you can comply with those standards that are in place at that time. So unless we change the standards to something else, which even at a 50-foot wide lot, I still don't know how you would do a driveway through there with the existing structure sitting on there. But
okay, back on item 10.7. Any other questions with Mr. Keltner or for Mr. Keltner? Hearing none, entertain a motion on item 10.7.
Move to approve.
It's been moved, properly seconded. Any discussion on item 10.7? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green? Aye. Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom?
No.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye. Item 10.7 is approved. Next item, 10.8, first consideration ordinance 4506 to amend ordinance 4400, the same being the zoning ordinance of the City of Columbia, by rezoning tax map 99A, Group G, Parcel 32, located at 815 Woodside Street, from Neighborhood Character District to General Urban Character District. This is Ward 3.
Second.
It's been moved. It's been properly seconded. Any discussion on that item? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom?
No.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 10.9, first consideration ordinance 4507 to amend 4400, the zoning ordinance by rezoning tax map 75, parcel 11.17, located off Baker Road from Planned Unit Development Residential District to Neighborhood Large Lot Character District and Rural Character District. This is Ward 5.
Move for approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded, that item. Any discussion on item 10.9? Mr. Coleman.
I just want to point out, I believe that this is the first development, and correct me if I'm wrong, the first development that where the hillsides and natural spaces future land use designation is coming into effect. Is that correct, Mr. Keltner? And I just want to say how glad I am that we have this in place. You know, and I wish that we would have had it sooner, but this is something. This little fact here is going to help protect a lot of the rolling hills and landscapes of our town as it continues to grow. So I just want to really thank all the time that planning put into this, and here we are seeing it happen. So.
Well said, Mr. Coleman. It's exactly right. Any other discussion on item 10.9? We did entertain a motion in a second on that, didn't we? Okay, so we're ready to vote on it. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next, section 11, other business. Item 11.1, approve and authorize the mayor to sign an amendment to the contract with Tennessee Property Management in the amount of $8,781. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green? Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Understand that we do have 2 items to discuss in executive session. Let me ask a question for the city attorney. Mr. City Attorney, are we able to adjourn the meeting and retire to executive session? Okay, so we will adjourn. That way the meeting will have concluded. We do need a few minutes with the city attorney for an executive session matter. Before I call for a motion to adjourn, would any member of council like to say anything, offer any comments? Chief Alsop did mention the memorial event next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. at Pleasant Heights. I feel like there are a number of other events that are happening that I'm probably forgetting. I want to say to Parks and Rec, good job with the farmers market and the opening weekend. Got a lot of positive feedback on that. It looked great down there. The new clock looks good. Everything was really well done from a programming standpoint. So thank you, Mac, and your team for that. Kelly, thanks for all your hard work tonight, and Lexi as well for continuing to help us tell our story at the city. And to everyone here this evening, again, thanks for all of you for your good work. Always, we're very grateful for that. So with that, I'm going to make the motion to adjourn, and we'll ask for a second.
Second.
It's been properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye, we are adjourned to executive session. Thank you.